What's up, guys? Today we're gonna be talking about my 3 favorite comped guns, starting with my truck gun, my competition gun, and my carry gun. If you guys see one of these comps that you like, we're actually running a Black Friday sale right now through Sunday. And if you guys missed that sale, we're also gonna be running a Cyber Monday sale. Starting off with the Flux Raider as my truck gun. This is kind of an obvious choice. It's gonna be shooting 9mm, so it's gonna be the same as my carry gun. So I can throw this in my get home bag, my bug out bag, whatever. It's gonna be really small and it's gonna fit in everything. And it's gonna be the same ammunition. So if I wanna put a couple hundred rounds of ammo in my truck or in the get home bag, we have that continuity between rounds. Also, this thing is gonna carry a lot of ammo. We got 2 extended mags here coming in at like 42 rounds. So you're gonna have a lot of ammunition and it's gonna be really small and compact. So if you were gonna do like an SBR 10.5, that's gonna take up a lot more room in your truck. And to carry that around, you're gonna have 2 different kinds of ammunition. So you're gonna have 5.56, 300 blackout, and 9mm. So with this, you're gonna get a little bit more continuity. You're gonna have the little bit longer barrel. This is actually an X carry slide, so it's 4.6 inches. Instead of a little red dot, you actually get a full-size red dot, which is gonna be nicer for a truck gun. You're gonna get a full-size weapon light, so you're gonna get more lumens, and you're going to get a stock. So for a truck gun setup, this is gonna be a little bit nicer if you have to use it ever. You're gonna have a stock, full-size weapon light, and a full-size optic, all at your convenience rather than another pistol coming in at probably half the size of an SBR AK or AR-15. So just really convenient. It's also probably gonna weigh a little bit less than an SBR. So I think it's kind of the clear choice for a truck gun. It's small, it's light, carries a lot of ammo, uses the same bullets as my carry gun, my competition gun as well. So just win-win-win all across the board. And that's why I chose this as my truck gun. The only thing you gotta be concerned about is the stock. You know, some states are not gonna like you carrying an SBR in your truck. So definitely keep that in mind when you're looking at a truck gun setup. With this, it does have a built-in safety. So if you wanna keep this loaded in your truck, it's a little more safe than a handgun, which you could keep in a holster, but this I can just throw in my bag and it's 100% ready to go all the time. With an AR-15 or like a shorty 300 blackout build, you still have the safety. But again, you don't get that continuity or the weight savings or the size savings. So I'm gonna say this is kind of the clear win for a truck gun. Of course, we have a Herrington Arms 320 XL in there. We designed this compensator specifically for the Flux. You'll see in some of the clips, there's very little recoil on this, a little bit less than a AR-15, an AK, 300 blackout, all those longer guns. So that's kind of cool, it's kind of very little recoil, so if my wife had to use my truck gun, she could pick up this gun and go to work and have no issues with the operating control or the recoil. So it's just kind of a win all around. Obviously, with this being 9mm, you can carry a lot of ammo in a very small package. You only get 21 rounds per mag, but you got 42 rounds here. You can carry a box of 50 cartridges, 4x6. If you're gonna do that with 5.56 or 300 blackout, it'd be a lot bigger and a lot heavier. So if you want to throw this in your truck or a get home bag, you're going to carry a lot more ammo with a lot less weight. Definitely something to keep in mind. Next up, we have my competition gun. This is a Sig P320 X compact on a full-size frame. Length doesn't matter a lot in competition, but we're getting away with my HC320 flat, flush with an X full frame. The reason we went with the HC320 flat is the large top port and the large side ports. That's going to help with the vertical recoil and the linear recoil. With target transitions, it's gonna make it really nice. With the muzzle flip, you're gonna have a lot less with this large top port. But the large side ports are gonna allow you to shoot faster as well. You're not gonna have as much felt recoil in your hand, not as much like flinch factor. So when you shoot, it's just gonna feel a lot softer. You could go with the 320 XL on this since length is not as important. So if I shoot and I see there was a miss or not a great hit, I can do another follow-up shot, and the softness allows me to have a quicker reaction time. So it's gonna be different for everybody, but this is what I went for a competition rig. The weapon light isn't really critical for competition, but it's gonna add weight, which is gonna help with felt recoil as well. On that note, we also added the Align tactical thumb rest. That's gonna help a lot with consistency in your draw, managing a little bit of recoil on there as well. Since it's competition, of course, we had to add a mag well. It's gonna help with reloads a lot. And then our +5 mag extension fits the USPSA standard gauge, so we went with that as well. Gives us more rounds, may reduce a reload during the drill. With this being a full-size frame, I have a longer grip, so it's going to allow me to get my hand on there entirely. It's going to make it for a little bit faster holster draw and consistency, which is nice. With the compensator slide nested in there, you also have easier holster compatibility, so I can get any X-Full 320 holster to work. For OWB, it's just going to be a little bit easier to find holsters since that's such a common build. Ended up putting the Leopold Delta Point Pro in this because the slide was already cut for it. It's not my favorite optic, but it is nice that it's just a dot. I don't have to worry about a bunch of stuff in the reticle. It just makes it really easy to see. My only complaint about this is I can't manually override brightness. With competition, I prefer to have my dot up a little bit brighter. It just makes it easier to see in broad daylight. This dot can be a little bit light sometimes. For all purposes, it works pretty well. With this setup, I've actually carried this a little bit, and I like it a lot. So it could be a competition and a carry gun, and even a home defense gun. This is kind of the best do-all gun in my opinion. That's why it's been in so many videos. I really appreciate this gun for what it is. It's the perfect size for me to carry it, to throw it in a bag, to use it for competition. But in today's video, this is primarily my competition gun now. With that out of the way, let's talk about my new favorite carry gun. It's going to be the Sig P365. Could be called the Macro, could be called the Frankenstein build. But essentially what we have here is a regular 365 slide with a Herrington Arms HD 365. Nested in an X macro frame. This is probably my favorite setup for carry right now. It's got the longer full-size frame, so it's really comfortable to draw from appendix. It's not as thick as the regular 320, so it's gonna conceal a little bit better. With the X macro frame, we actually get 17 rounds and a regular Streamlight TLR-17 weapon light. With the regular 365, you would not be able to fit this on here unless you had a TAC-DEV rail, which would require a proprietary holster. But what's cool is with this being an X macro build, you can find holsters relatively easy. That's kind of why it's became my new favorite, is 17 rounds, easy to find holsters. You get this cool nested look with the compensator. With the compensator, you're gonna have reduced recoil, both in muzzle flip and linear recoil because of the side ports. We've talked about this in a couple videos, but really what makes this a really cool setup is it's not very big. It holds a lot of rounds and it's not super snappy like some of the other 365s you would shoot. So it's kind of the perfect do-all gun, perfect for carry. You could make this a competition rig, but it's kind of small for that. This is gonna be a little bit heavier. You're gonna be able to put a thumb rest on there so you can be able to mitigate a little more recoil than this would be. But for a carry gun, I have no complaints. It's got a pretty nice hollow sun optic on here, compensator, 17 rounds, 500 lumen weapon light. With this being the X macro frame, you're gonna have really nice stippling. So it's not gonna be too aggressive where it's rubbing up against your belly or your side if you're carrying a strong side. But aggressive enough that if you get into a heated situation, have to use your carry gun, and let's say your hands are sweaty or bloody, you're gonna have really nice grip texture, so you're not gonna have to worry about that a whole lot. I think Sig just did a phenomenal job on this frame. For 80 bucks, it just seems like it's the way to go for a carry gun. You can buy a regular 365, save some money on that rather than buying the X macro. Spend $80 on the frame, buy a compensator, and you have a better X macro for a lot cheaper. And that's the reason this is my concealed carry gun of choice. It checks all the boxes for me. You know, minimal recoil, weapon lights, nice trigger, nice stippling. It's got an optic, 17 rounds. It's really easy to find holsters for it, so it's just an easy win in my opinion for a carry gun if money is no option. There are cheaper options for this, but for me, this is what I'm going with. You guys might have noticed all of these are Sig. That just happened to be the case for this video. With the FCU system, it's so nice to swap out what you want. So for this case, we wanted an integrated comp build. You can't really do that with Glock or Smith & Wesson or any of the other brands out there. So this is the aesthetic I like, so that's what I went with. It's a little bit more expensive than some of the other alternatives, but it's what I personally enjoy. Would you guys change any of these out? Drop a comment down below. We're curious to see, what you guys are looking for, and if maybe Herrington Arms can provide a product for a specific gun that you guys really enjoy that's not on our roster. Don't forget about our Black Friday sale. All of these comps are gonna be on sale. We'll have links down below. If you guys like this video, we'd appreciate a like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.